What does stewardship mean at a personal level? Are there specific actions we ought to be taking? If we keep in mind that we are creatures created by God, then we know a certain humility about our interactions with God's creation. When I was a kid, I used to camp. And one of the things I was taught as a camper was to leave no trace behind. Gather up all your trash. Gather up all your fire, your burnt wood. Make it as if you were never in that camping spot, so the next person who comes upon it will have the same pristine experience you had. I think that's a lovely personal ethic that we might want to use in all of our stewardship care of creation. We need to be careful about leaving no trace behind. Leave our ideas, leave our art, but leave a world for other children to delight and play in, just as we are.
We can live more closely in right relationship with the rest of creation if we're conscious about how we live on this planet. If we're conscious of our footprint, that's a frequent image that's used. What's our energy use like? What's our water use like? What's our use of fuel like? Are there ways in which we can reduce what we use, recycle what is recyclable, be reflective about how we engage with the non-human parts of creation? Because it impacts us, it impacts our neighbors across the world, both human and not. We need to be more conscious of how we live on this planet.
There's a phrase that a lot of people use that is live lightly on God's earth. It's the idea that be conscious of the ways you make decisions. Be conscious of how you live in terms of your driving patterns. What do you eat? What do you buy? What do you consume? Is it really necessary? What is it that you can do to simplify your life? To step back from all of our focus on things and maybe focus instead on our relationships with people, our relationship with God, our relationship with nature. Living lightly on the earth is a way to have a right relationship with God.
Individually and collectively, yes. Individuals can make decisions about how they manage their households, but they can also come together as communities and advocate for governmental responses. The scale of climate change is such that it really requires massive response at the level of nations to make a significant difference. Individual action is important at the local level, but we need the collective response that will address some issues of carbon output into the atmosphere, that will put limits on the use of dirty fuels, that will support exploratory efforts toward cleaner energy, that will develop policies that share the resources that are available in ways that people have far more equal access to them.
I think about the waste I produce in terms of the food that I eat, and how do I eat in a way that only consumes those parts of the natural world that go to sustaining me. How do I travel in a way that minimally costs in terms of fuel?
Consciousness about, obviously, the way you use water in the household, turn it off when you're brushing your teeth, but consciousness about the food we eat and what kinds of food take how much water to produce. Frequently used phrase is live lower on the food chain, eat more plants, less meat. Meat takes an enormous amount of water and to produce, as well as producing far more greenhouse gases than producing plant food does. The way in which we travel, the energy we use to travel has something to do with water use and the pollution of water sources.